It says webinar is now streaming live on YouTube.
It says preparing to live stream the webinar.
Okay, so are we preparing to live stream the webinar? Like, you tell me when to start, Jackie.
Okay.
Jackie, on mine it says
I don't
live.
see everybody. I see somebody cleaning Chris McClure. I see somebody's cleaning Chris McClure's desk, but I do not see him.
Yeah, Chris McClure, I'm there. Put your arrow. I'm at a different spot. Unfortunately, my office desk is still being shown, but when I leave the meeting, that'll all go away. Sorry.
That's okay. So we'll just ignore that one.
Yeah, no, I see it. I
Yeah.
mean, you got books behind you.
Yeah, correct.
Are those auditing books?
Negative. Since I'm at home.
Jackie, could you just tell us how to get everybody showing?
Just let us know when to start, because everybody's screen's going to be a little different, but as long as we know that everybody's here and we're ready and we're live, that will just go.
Whoa, there we go. Just saw some construction.
Nancy, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, there should be speaker view or gallery view.
I have grid video,
Yes.
view
Uh,
options.
We are live now.
Okay, good evening. It is 7:09 and I would like to call the April 20th, 2020 regular meeting of the Board of Library Trustees of Orland Park Public Library to order. Roll call, please.
Could I, excuse me, I need to see everybody. So you're gonna have to be more specific.
Nancy, if you click on the upper corner, or go to the upper corner on the right, you should see speaker view or gallery view. Make sure it's on gallery view,
Upper corner of the right.
upper right corner of the screen.
Of the participants. Could Jackie, you're in charge. Could you,
Are you on a Chromebook?
pardon me? No, I'm
Are
on,
you on
a-
a Chrome?
I'm on an
Okay.
app.
So in the screen, if you look at the top, you should see you are viewing Jacqueline Boyd's screen and view
Yes.
options.
Yes,
Okay, next to that, in the right corner.
I see
Say-
view options.
So if you click on that, does it give you speaker view or gallery view?
No.
Bridget, I know what you're talking about. And if Nancy's looking at the same screen I am, we have the full screen is Jackie's screen. And then there are view options, but there's nothing next to it. And even if you click on view options, you do not get gallery. There we go.
Whoa.
Okay.
Who did
So
that?
now we are, Nancy, are you seeing everybody?
I'm seeing, yeah, I'm seeing different people, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
whoever
Now
talks,
go
we
up
seem
to the right of your screen.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got
Okay.
it now.
Okay. So are we good?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right.
Yep.
I see two phone numbers down on the screen. Are those people who,
Juliana, this one that's showing green is my cell phone because my laptop doesn't have a microphone working. So I
okay,
have the phone and the video going.
okay, and then there's a 312 number. Is that somebody who's,
That's Christian.
oh, okay, all right. So the meeting was called to order at 7:09. Could we have roll call, please?
Vice President Barcelona,
Here.
Trustee Healy,
Here,
Trustee Kleiss,
Here.
President Leafblad,
Here.
Trustee Lindblom,
Here.
Treasurer McMillan,
here.
and then McShane is here.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the February 17th, 2020 board minutes?
so moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, are
Can I
there,
ask, please, that those who motion and second, could you please say your names for the minutes?
Nancy Healy.
Bridget Lindblom.
Thank you.
okay, are there any points of discussion?
Yeah, could I just ask, because I don't think it'll come up in another part of the meeting. In the minutes, back in February, we talked about Schindler and we had a hard time getting a hold of them. Did they ever, Mary, I think Mary Adamowski, you were talking to them, working with them. Did we make progress with Schindler, or is it, I know we're not going to renew, but we wanted that inspection.
Right, so on February 3rd, they did come to inspect both elevators. And so we are owed one more maintenance visit, and that will be done before July.
Okay, so that'll get done.
So yeah, we're good with them right now.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Vice President Barcelona,
Aye.
Trustee Healy,
Aye.
Trustee Kleiss,
Aye.
President Leafblad,
Aye.
Trustee Lindblom,
Aye.
Treasurer McMillan,
Aye.
McShane, aye.
Okay, and with us tonight, we have Chris McClure of McClure and Sarah and Company. So I believe we're going to be talking, are we going to have him talk to us now?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay,
Okay, I'm ready if you guys are.
yeah,
Okay.
no
we're
need to
gonna
have
do
you
this-
sit through much more of this.
No, it's pretty much fun. But I'm going to make this short and sweet. The main reason I'm here is to answer your questions, but I will cover just a few highlights from your audited financial statements. I'm hoping you all have something like this in front of you or a PDF or something, because I'll be referring to pages. If you don't, let me know and I'll call out the numbers. But so let's page through it briefly. You'll see the independent auditor's report on pages 1 and 2. That basically says that, you got a clean opinion. Let's just put it that way. You got what the good thing, let's just make it that simple. And then on page 4, if you have this in front of you, it's a comparative financial statement of a balance sheet at top and income statement below. And let me point out just 4 numbers on those statements. This is the only place that you're going to see any comparative financial statements here. So just to run through some key numbers on top of page 4, your cash is down about 138,000, and that's the first line of your current assets, I should say, are down 138,000. That's the first line of the balance sheet at top, or net position. The last line before the total of the net position shows that your fund balance, your unrestricted fund balance, is down 275,000. If you look at the income statement below that, it shows your overall revenue is down 314,000, but your expenses are down 402,000. So you actually had $88,000 more positive change in we'd call that net income if it were for profit. So your net income went up by $88,000 last year. So that's a good thing overall. Then I'm just going to hit a couple numbers from your page 6. This is probably the most important statement on there. It's a summary of all of your, let's say page 7. It's a summary of your income and expenses for the year. And really, I just want to point out a couple of numbers. And again, I'm hoping you all have this. But page 7, 2/3 down, or maybe 4/5 down, says net change in fund balance. It shows the general fund had 113,000 net income, let's call it. Special reserve fund lost 223,000, or spent that much more than money they took in. Let's put it that way. So, and then the other 2 funds are pretty minor, their net change. If you look down at the bottom, the last line on that statement in the lower left-hand corner shows general fund net fund balance, or fund balance, is $6,654,534. A fund balance is your accumulated income and expenses, your accumulated net income over the life of the library. So that's like your accumulated profits since the beginning. So the way I like to evaluate fund balance is like, how much of a year's worth of spending do I have? So if you look above that line, the total expenditures for the general fund were 5.5 million. You have about 20% more than a year's worth of spending in fund balance for the general fund. So I would say you have a pretty strong fund balance in the general fund. In the special reserve fund, of course, that's where you accumulate money to spend on capital projects. Well, this year you spent 446,000. You all know that. General fund transferred in 200,000, and you have remaining fund balance at the end of the year, 1,076,000. So that's how much money you have left to spend in the capital projects fund. So, yeah, those other two funds again are pretty small. I mean, the debt service fund, that money is only used to pay down debt service. Theoretically, someday when all the bonds are paid off and you're not getting, well, when all these bonds are paid off, you can use that remaining fund balance for the original purpose of the bonds. It could be transferred probably to the special reserve fund, but you'd have to calculate that if you have ongoing bonds when a bond is retired. And those are just the highlights, the major numbers. I don't want to take up much of your time. Does anyone have any questions on those numbers or anything related to the audit or the audited financial statements?
Well, no, well, I had it over on, if I go, Chris, if you go to note 5, long-term debt.
Sure.
And that Ross could be part of the question because that's our bonds. Right now, we owe, as of beginning of 2020 or the end of 19, we owe $1,895,000.
Correct.
That's right.
And Ross, is that did we refinance? What was it we did with the village? Did we refinance? Was that in 2019?
We didn't do anything. It was the village that refinanced the bonds because they were the ones holding the bonds.
Yeah, so now and they got it down to about a 1.7 rate. Is that what we're at right now? It says 1.59 down below in the notes, 1.59 to 1.7.
Right. So that's pretty good interest rate.
Yeah, so it would make no sense to pay those bonds off early at that kind of rate. So I just wanted to clarify, that's what we've got in here for the.
Right.
That's really our big obligation for the next 3 years is 500, 520, 875. And then we basically are debt free. Am I correct on that? Or is there anything I'm missing?
Not unless we take out any other debt, but at this point in time, once we pay it off in 3 years, we're done.
Yeah, we have no intention of doing anything else in that regard.
No, not at this point.
We have adequate funds to complete the renovation.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That was it, Chris.
Okay, cool. Anybody else?
No.
Okay, well, much appreciated, you guys. Good luck with your meeting, and I'll try and get my desk out of your view, okay? I'll do my best.
Well, thank you. Very good work.
Thank you, Chris.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
Thank you,
Good
Chris.
job
Have a good
cleaning.
evening.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Take care. Bye now.
Bye.
Okay, we don't have a list for public comment, but this is the public comment portion of the meeting. Do we have anything indicating that there is any public that wishes to make comments or have any?
Yes, there was a comment that was made to the library via Ask Opal, and it was made on Saturday, April 18th at 4:53 p.m. from George Scarlatus. And he had a subject line, library questions. Hello, when the board meets on Monday, can they consider the possibility of opening the library to staff only and allow patrons to check out and return materials as curbside pickup only? Returning materials can be sanitized or placed in dated piles and left undisturbed until they pass the virus's survival time outside of a host before being reshelved and again available for circulation. Also, our renovations still being completed while the library is closed. Thank you, George.
Okay, well, Mary?
The second part of the question is easy to answer. The renovations are still going on, Mary, aren't they?
Yes. Jackie did answer that question on Saturday. So,
Would you like to hear the response that Jackie's?
Yes. Did she answered both questions?
Yes.
Yes, let's publish the response.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Jackie Boyd responded, good morning, George. The Library Board of Trustees is meeting virtually. The board will not actually be in the library building. We are still under Governor Pritzker's stay-at-home order, which has not yet expired. You can view the meeting on the library's YouTube channel. The library is always open online with ebooks, audiobooks, e-magazines, movies, and digital comic books. Please let me know if you would like more information about finding or downloading the library's online resources. All the official information about the library renovation is available on the library website here. And then she gives the library's link to the renovation page. And that was signed, thank you, Jackie Boyd.
Okay, great. Anything else?
That was the only one that came through.
Okay, so, all right, so thank you for your public comments to, if it may, I don't know if they're watching or paying attention. Moving on then, do we have a motion to approve the February 2020 Treasurer's Report?
So moved. Charles McShane.
Second.
Who's second,
Chris
please?
Barcelona.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, are there any points of discussion?
No.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Vice President Barcelona.
Aye.
Trustee Kleiss.
Aye.
President Leafblad.
Aye.
Trustee Lindblom.
Aye.
Treasurer McMillan.
Aye.
Secretary McShane. Aye.
Okay, is there a motion to approve payment of February bills from February 18th through March 16th, 2020?
This is Nancy Healy. I'll move that we pay the bills from February 18th through March 16th. And I have questions after I get a second.
Second, Charles McShane.
Okay, so there is some discussion.
I was curious about Pronova. I don't know who
Yeah.
they are.
Which one?
Pronova, it's, it
You
was
think that's the-
10,765. I saw it on there too. That was,
Is that the painter?
Okay.
Yes,
oh,
we found out that the area on the north end of the building where was not included in the renovation, yet that was going to be half done by the construction people. So we paid union workers to,
Mary, could you move your cell phone a little bit away from your computer?
I did,
Yep, thank you.
paid union workers to do the north end, the northwest end, and that third bay area that had water damage.
You're not clear. You talked about the north end before, so now I understand, but you're not clear. So
About the painting.
now that's better. Yes.
Okay, so we painted the bay area near the northwest corner, and we paid for the columns to match with the P1 beige painting throughout the second floor.
Okay, so they're no longer color coded near the areas?
No, that would, architects would prefer us to go with the scheme of colors they chose.
Okay. All right, and then a second question is gradient finance for postage now. So is that for the newsletter? Although we have a couple of different invoices to Gradient.
Gradient, I believe, Nancy, is the new name of Neopost.
Okay, all right,
They've changed their name. I don't know why, but they did change their name recently.
okay. And then the third one is movie licensing at 1235. Still, I know we have to do it if we have the movies, but how much does it cost us per person that sees these? Are we just still doing once a month?
Well, the movies were
So the
shown
movie
for the
licensing?
adults, but because
Say
we
that again,
haven't
Mayor?
had program, we haven't done any movies. We just had to renew the licensing. That was at a discount through Rails as a group purchase. If you wish us to check to see if we can get some of our money back because we're not going to be showing movies, that would be an option. I could have Sarah check.
Yeah, but overall, didn't we reduce the number of movie showings that than in the past?
We did, yes.
Okay, so you still think it's a worthwhile expense?
I think if time, at a time when we probably could show movies, I think it is. I wouldn't want us to give it up.
Okay, all right. That's all I want to know, just so you would look at it occasionally.
Mhm. I think there was a 30% discount offered through Rails. As Mary mentioned, it was quite a sizable discount.
But I would like to check to see if we can stream them, with the movie license and do a virtual program.
That would be a good idea.
Mhm.
So I will check out and see what the legalities. Okay.
Thank you. That's it for me for the first through March 16th. I have some for March 31st.
Okay, is anybody else have any other points of discussion? Okay, roll call.
Vice President Barcelona,
Aye.
Trustee Healy,
Aye.
Trustee Kleiss,
Aye.
President Leafblad,
Aye.
Trustee Lindblom,
Aye.
Treasurer McMillan,
Aye.
Secretary McShane, aye.
Okay, I'm asking for a motion to approve the March 2020 Treasurer's Report. Is there a motion?
So
Bridget
moved.
Lindblom, so moved. Sorry, Chuck. I'll second that.
Okay, so Chuck motion moved and Bridget second.
Thank
Okay, any discussion for the March 2020 Treasurer's Report?
Yeah, I've got some things. Ross, you may know, yeah, it just seemed like all of a sudden, I mean, we got a huge number in the taxes, but that's just, I'm assuming the tax payment came in compared to
Yes,
our
it did.
straight line of 479. But at the, as we go down, it's as if we had a big month of catching up on certain things. Audiovisual materials, the increase to 21,000 from 15,000. Anything special?
Well, audio visual was, that budget includes not only physical DVDs and Blu-rays, but it also includes e-audio books. And we find that we bought quite a bit through Overdrive for the e-resources for the patrons while we were closed.
Got it.
We did a huge amount of purchasing in Overdrive.
Got it. Okay, so that
A
would,
summary of the number of books and e-audio books. That was helpful. Thank you.
then did we, with the security system for $8,000, what was that?
I think it's the cameras.
Is that what we put?
Yeah, I
in?
believe that
It
we
says
did. put
it's the cameras in his stuff.
Okay, so we got that in. Library consultant.
I think that's the AV Tech Source for the renovation and CTC. And Ross, you might correct me, is that spread out over 12 months or?
No, I don't think so. I think it is the CTC, but I don't think it is spread out over 12 months. Usually when we spread out over 12 months, it's more like a licensing agreement where we know it's going to go for about a year's time and then we just amortize it over a 12-month period.
Okay,
So because it's under budget on the year date, we should be okay.
Yeah.
yep. Very true. Then the automation equipment, is that something do we purchase something?
Can I add to that? You have it in
Yeah.
two categories. You have it in Amazon and you have it in card member services.
Yes,
One is $5,036 and in card member it's $6,000. So you had to have
Those
bought.
were the monitors and for the rooms and the brackets and the sound bar. So I think that's why it's for the new rooms.
okay, so these were related to the renovation. but we had them outside of the Capitol, and we got them in what we had talked about before, and we got it in the operating.
Yes.
Right.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And then, did we get new phones? I
No.
don't know who ATI Tech, and it's categorized as. phone.
No. We
Okay.
actually had to come out to reset up our phones or phone system once we were able to start to move back into our offices, et cetera.
Say that again?
We had to have ATI as the company that I think manages our phone system. And I
Okay,
believe they came out to reset up our phones. We had them disconnected, a number of our phones during the renovation.
yeah. Are you in your new office yet?
Yes, I am.
And you have your little next door neighbor that's in a real office next to you?
Yes.
Okay, and you have your own phones?
Yeah, we do. We do.
And so Mary A and Mary W have your own offices fixed?
Yes, we are back. Yes.
And your phone numbers are the same as before?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah, ATI, when they came in, there were 9 different phone jacks that needed to be reestablished.
Reactivated.
Yes, so that happened about a month ago.
okay. And I have one other, I don't know about you, Dan, Marchive or Mercive?
Yeah, that was, I had that circled. That was on the, for 6341, automation
Okay.
maintenance. Who is that?
Last year, Wendy spoke about cleaning our Polaris catalog of Mark records.
Yes.
Marchive was the company that we hired to do it. And I'm believing that that's part of the library consultant OI we're over as well. They cleaned up our Polaris catalog.
Okay,
It was a
and but then you
one-time
said there was gonna be
and then we'll
an
go
on,
maintenance going forward.
how much is the maintenance going forward?
I think it's about 1,400 going forward
Quarterly or annually?
annually.
Okay, so I do want to interject that you have moved on to March bills and we haven't finished with the treasurer's report. I think that you've moved on. Have you moved on to the bill summary? Is that what you're looking at now?
Should we do the roll call?
Did you ask, because you're asking questions about specific payments, and that would be in the payment of March bills. So if sorry to interrupt, but are we finished with any kind of discussion related to the March 2020 treasurer's report?
I thought we had finished, I don't know.
Well, we didn't vote on it.
Okay.
So if we're finished with that, then let's do the roll call. Am I incorrect about that? I don't think we did a roll call on the.
No,
No,
we-
we did not. We did not. I think
Right.
there were just
Well, let's-
some of it related to it, and I think that was we kind of.
Well, okay, so are we discussing, I just want to be clear, that's all. Are we still on the March 2020 treasurer's report? Or have we moved on to the payment of March bills? Can we vote on the treasurer's
Yeah.
report, or do we need to discuss?
I move to approve the treasurer's report.
Okay, so we have our motions. We're doing our discussion. Now let's do the roll call.
Oh, yeah, no, we already
For
did
the
that.
March 2020 treasurer's report.
Vice President Barcelona,
Aye.
Trustee Healy,
Aye.
Trustee Kleiss,
Aye.
President Leafblad,
Aye.
Trustee Lindblom,
Aye.
Treasurer McMillan,
Aye.
Secretary McShane, aye.
Okay, and now is there a motion to approve payment of March bills from March 17th through April 20th, 2020?
I motion to approve the March 17th through April 20th bills.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Bridget Lindblom, second.
Okay, and now, now we can have that discussion and continue.
Yeah, it's because it's a half, they go hand in hand. I don't know which should come first.
I know, yeah, I know.
Well, I just take,
Discussion should come first, really, before the approval.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I think the discussion should come first before the approval.
Well, there's a motion on the floor, then there's discussion, and then if we all approve, then that's what the roll call is. So the motion puts it on the floor for discussion. And so now what's on the floor for discussion is the approval of bills from March 17th through April 20th, 2020.
The
And it
check detail.
sounded like you had some specific questions about those, so, we can
And I- yeah.
finish addressing all that.
So if we're discussing it at the very top, White Construction, so we had a big month where we paid White. Is this the place where I could ask then, so since we paid White, Ross or Mary, where does that bring us as a percentage of construction? And their latest in that payment? Is that readily available, or is that something we'll follow up with?
Let me try to see if I can locate a document.
So you're looking, Dan, you're looking at page 1, the
Yeah.
first 2 payments to White.
Yeah, we paid about, what, 600,000 to them this month.
Yes,
In the month of March, it looks like. March and April, sorry.
that second half of March, beginning of April.
So I know we were 3 weeks ahead, so I didn't know, we had that issue with the sickness. We're back up and going. Are we still ahead of schedule? And is a percentage of construction?
It's
Well,
probably a
I
little,
do know the dates that you need. I was going to mention the renovation that,
It's probably in your
that
report.
report. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe
Um,
so that'll be covered in the library report.
I
So
agree.
if you have any more specific questions about the check detail from March 17th through April 20th, 2020, any checks written, any cash that went out? There's been a lot of cash paid out through that time period.
I have nothing.
yeah, most of that was related to White and Company
Yeah, that was the big
Okay.
one.
or the construction payouts.
Okay, so then we can do a roll call with regard to the check detail.
Vice President Barcelona,
Aye.
Trustee Healy,
Aye.
Trustee Kleiss,
Aye.
President Leafblad,
Aye.
Trustee Lindblom,
Aye.
Treasurer McMillan,
Aye.
Secretary McShane, aye.
Hey, and now we have the presentation of librarians' reports.
Hi. For some reason, my screen went out, but my audio is working, so I'll continue. The library card expiration dates had to be modified to allow patrons to have more time before the library opens. There were quite a few cards expiring during the spring. So we changed the dates to allow patrons to use them through July. We changed and raised the fine threshold so patrons were not blocked, so they could check out on Overdrive and Hoopla. The collection agency, Unique, was told not to send any notices out, and many temporary cards were issued to patrons until July 1st for access to our electronic resources. The Orland School District asked if unincorporated students could get a library card during this time. And I talked to Teresa, and she said that we could issue temporary cards until July 1st to help the students required to do e-learning. They were kind of under the gun with no resources. The state library is urging libraries to issue temporary cards to surrounding residents in this time of emergency. Does that seem to be okay with you? I don't know how many have really taken advantage of it, but we're trying to be more open to the people who have to do their schoolwork.
Yes, whatever makes e-learning easier, because, just trying for them trying to check in, trying to do projects, trying to, get assignments in, whatever makes it possible for them to do that, I think we should do.
100%.
Does the temporary card allow them access to all the apps and everything the way any other card holder would use them?
Yeah. Yes, we've given them actually a card that'll, the only reason it's called temporary is that eventually it has an expiration date. And so when we open, anybody who wishes to renew it has to come in with their ID. So anybody who decides, maybe if they're non-residents they may decide to purchase a resident card. They may decide just to let it go. They don't need it anymore. It'd be interesting to see how many renew up, because I do believe with this pandemic that they're going to have to look to the future, that they're going to be doing more e-learning no matter what. And I think this might encourage people to look to their libraries for renewal of cards, personally. I think that we're going to be a good resource for them.
Okay.
But staff, like Mary Adamowski has been issuing these cards. We come in every day. So Teresa lets us know the emails she gets from people who are looking if they have any problems with their cards. And Mary has been fixing them for them. So Mary's gotten a lot of grateful patrons saying thank you.
Very happy.
Staff have recently been coming in this week to start organizing some of the return materials and some shelving of materials that have been in the building for weeks that have not been touched. We have 28 carts of books that have been returned, and we need, even if, whenever the governor lifts the order or whatever is chosen of how we reopen, we need to start getting these organized. So they've been voluntarily coming in. Nobody has asked them because we don't want anybody violating the state of stay at home, but they're very excited, I think, a few of them to come in for just a couple hours each day at different times. We keep them social distance or in different departments. Like today, 4 people came in. One was in YS, one was in adult services shelving, and there were, I think, 2 working in this patron services to try to organize carts for the to be checked in. But they had masks, gloves, and we're using social distancing. That was
Hey,
Teresa.
Mary?
Back. Yes?
Sorry, I was trying to jump in between comments there. I just wanted to offer, my mom is actually sewing masks she's done it for some nursing homes in the area, and she did it for Mariano's. And she told me to offer, if you guys would like, she could make masks for the staff as well.
Oh, I would rather have a cloth mask than the KN95. Frankly, I think they're more breathable. So feel free for her to make it something with a nice Harry Potter pattern. No.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do there. But yeah, it comes with like a little pocket for a piece of filter. It's the Mariano's bags and the Whole Foods bags. They have found that those are good for filters. So there's a little pocket, you can slide that in, and then you've got the mask, and you can wash it and all that. So just shoot me a text later and tell me how many we need, and Mom's
they'll be
loving
wonderful.
sewing, so I'll get her on it.
Well, thank you so much.
Sure.
Well, some of you have been liking our Facebook. We've had virtual story times and craft projects. There was a science program, adult book discussion was done, and there's another to follow at the end of this month. We've had a cybersecurity webinar for people. We've had many companies have been loosening the restraints on providing service. For instance, Ancestry.com is allowing remote access, and World Book has been doing some help for the students, and the communications manager, Jackie Boyd, has been posting all of these on Facebook and our social media. Staff are live and breathing webinars now, as we too, like students, are online learning. So, and you can tell that the e-resource statistics look very good from our patrons. We've had incredible hoopla and overdrive statistics. I believe Mary sent those to you last week, just to show that we were doing pretty good.
Fabulous.
And go ahead.
Mary, they were great statistics for hoopla. Can I ask, in the packet of information that all the different department heads wrote up, Jackie listed all the YouTube videos she created, but how do the patrons know where those are?
They're all on our YouTube channel.
We also sent it out in the e-blast.
Okay.
Too, Jackie, we have on our events calendar, you've put the links to like the virtual story times so that patrons can then click on that.
Jackie, did you hear Mary?
Yes, we sent it out in an e-blast to all the patrons.
And then with regard to the story times, you have a link on the calendar too?
On the, yeah, on the events calendar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, these were instructional. These weren't a staff training video and for all these different things.
Oh,
Yeah,
the staff training videos were sent to the specific staff that needed them. So I wasn't able to delegate in-person responsibilities or show people how to get into the cloud from Outlook personally. So I made a video about it and sent it to the staff that needed it.
got it. Okay, so it's not for patron consumption at all.
No, staff training.
Okay. Well, I mean, Lena had launched a community resources page, and that would have been where Mary just said on our homepage, and a link.
That's the calendar for the for story time and things like that. You go, whatever's on the calendar day includes a link to whatever it's referring to for that day.
To the archived virtual programming.
Thank you.
The only, like to remind trustees to file their statement of economic interest before May 1st. Some already have, and the staff have completed it. Just wanted to remind you that. If you did not get the link, let me know. This morning, or early this afternoon, I sent a draft of a reopening of the Orland Park Public Library plan. Did everyone receive that?
Yes.
Yes.
It's just a beginning. I think there's a lot more that we can add on safety guidelines and such, but I wanted to let you know that the libraries are thinking about how we're going to get back rolling if and when the governor makes his statement about shelter at home. So what we did is that we put some basic information about if the staff were in, how would we do meal breaks, scheduling, using restrooms and water fountains, and the phasing in of curbside as one of the first ways of offering service with in-house materials. And then there was how many people are at the public service desks. Interlibrary loans would not be started because we don't know how to get those at time. Delivery is not resumed with rails yet. They have not decided to at this time. And then phasing in limited walk-in service, less limited, and then gradual transition to normal full service. I do see that programming and what's been on all the listservs that we're going to be in virtual programming probably to the end of August. That even as the libraries open to the public in different ways, it's not going to be able to have the programming in the rooms and still allow for social distancing. So we are looking to continue virtual programming. Sarah's working on trying to get concerts in virtual so we can offer them. It's the way the libraries are going to work. It's going to be a lot different than what's in the past. And if there's any particular part of this that you would like to, I mean, it's a first draft. There's a lot of work still to be done on it. But is there anything that you didn't see addressed that you wanted to see more clarification on? I'd appreciate any input.
Mary, and I don't, this is an overall view that we'll have to address going forward, but we're gonna open up so slowly. And not because we want to open slowly, but because the bureaucrats, that's the way it's going to be. And where is this going to leave? You know, when for much of the, for many times we're only going to allow one person per study room. So we're not going to have very many people in the library for a while. What is this going to do to the staffing in terms of our staffing requirements? And, I know we're not a business, but we do have the revenue on our taxes. Probably that tax revenue is going to go down. If we've had PTABs in the past, I think that, PTABs are only going to get much, as the businesses are fighting for their lives, we're going to have a hard time in revenue. I guess what I'm looking at is, and it's probably beyond the scope of what we're going to discuss right here now, but our staffing requirements could be reduced. And I don't know if it's going to be reduced just through attrition or how we're going to deal with that. But, as I read through this, we don't have many people. It's going to be a while till we have many people in the library, one person to a study room from a limit of 1 hour. Things
Well, at this point, the study rooms usually only one person. They don't use them as group. I think they're mostly used for people who are recording things or talking out loud. I find that most of the study rooms are one at this point, but I also have the large meeting rooms that we could make available to spread out additional people who need to speak with like a group where you could do a little, because it's bigger, do a little more social distancing and still allow them to have some kind of place to talk, with the understanding that there might be others in that area. So as far as staffing, we have some open positions that we are not going to at this time fill that could do, that would significantly save money. We have a reference to position. Linda, during the pandemic, did retire, and we will not be filling that position. That will be a considerable savings. It is full-time with benefits. We will not be filling the patron services clerk position, the adult services part-time librarian position, and at this time, probably not the youth services part-time librarian position. So we have already, through attrition, I'm looking not to fill those. Now, also, we'll see as we open how many staff members are able to come back to work as well. That will be something I won't foresee until it happens.
Yeah, no, you can't tell. So that's why I said attrition may take care of it, and we'll have to see if that'll work. Is Andy being replaced?
Yes, I have not started the process yet. I started the process. I received applications, but I put it on stall because the library closed and I couldn't perform interviews. I'm looking to do phone interviews with Nicole next week, and we've already kind of started to look at certain applications. And then second interviews, if I'm hoping we'll be open and able to do second interviews. At this time, because they have been doing a lot of ordering, and throughout this, they've been ordering materials, I think that I might be able to keep that position only open maybe through the end of June. I'm looking to have it filled by July. I don't see a real need to do it immediately. I know that I have very good staff in that department who can handle things for a couple months.
When does he retire? June 30th?
His official date is May 6th.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can I just be a voice of conservative spending and say that I don't want to spend a lot of money on virtual concerts? I think it's kind of dumb.
Okay, all right. That's something I'll share with Sarah. Thank you.
Does anybody else have an opinion on that?
No, well, I guess I would take that a step further and ask, is it all concluded? And maybe Keith is being aggressive, but we all saw how he came out and is still determined to have certain events this summer. How does that relate to what the library can do? Is there any chance we can do an outdoor concert? Because he said, they're still planning on putting on the concerts. I don't know exactly how he's doing it, but is there any thought of that? I'm not talking about June, probably in July, something, with Ava or somebody else. Would that be possible? space it out a little more.
I'm not sure until I think the governor's kind of the last say in how he wishes to open up the state. That's why this draft is not conclusive. I would like to, it'd be nice to be able to have some programs, but they'll be limited by distance.
Mary, when we talk about what is is there a significant cost to doing the concerts virtually?
Well, I'd have to talk to Sarah. She's still investigating this. I would hope that there'd be some discount.
Okay. All right. So this is a work in progress, and these are some things that we're thinking about.
Yeah, but they're not less than $500 each.
Okay.
And-
I don't know how much each would cost. So,
well, I mean, if you see random names that you haven't seen before on bill pays, that's and it comes up as programming. That's kind of where I get my information from. I certainly don't know who she has done, but I just would rather have the enthusiasm of a actual concert when the time comes, rather than spend it, you know, when we could just send a link. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand there's a lot of concerts that people can get off of Netflix and whatnot if they want music.
Kind
So
of.
I understand where you're going. The involvement of being there is the excitement of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but we are looking at other programs for adults, you know, informational. They've made some offers. This is new to the performers as well.
Sure.
They do have to worry about copyright. So if they, you know, videotape themselves and send us a videotape, well, we have to assure them that this isn't going to be given to other people to use. So we're still working out, I think, the logistics of whether they wish to even provide virtual programs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you touched on a little bit there as well. If it's new to them, I mean, I'm sure you've all been to Zoom meetings or go to meetings recently. They're very difficult to kind of get everybody coordinated in one thing. I dread to imagine playing live music over a go to meeting or some sort of web thing. Like, I can't imagine they're in the same area with each other. So yeah, not that I'm totally against it, but it's probably going to be pretty rough to deliver on any sort of quality content.
well, it's going to be based on whether it's logistically possible in the first place. So
Yeah.
if there's a concert, if it's possible to do the concert, then the next question is going to be, is it cost effective and is it worthwhile in terms of, you know, what entertainment value or whatever it would deliver. And I think that it sounds like that's what Sarah's working on. Is that right?
Yes. There have been a lot of online, you know, every Friday, Andrew Lloyd Webber releases, you know, his shows online. And so there is some interest for it. But I think to Joanna's point, it depends on what the entertainment is, I think. And that we might need to just wait a little longer to get a little direction on, you know, what the governor is, when he's letting us, you know, get out and do some things. So we're probably a little premature, but something to consider at least.
Right, because when you see like the concerts performing on Zoom and that kind of thing, they're not doing that live because this has been pre-recorded, it's been mixed, it's been edited, it's been worked on.
Perfected.
So, right. So there's no way that anybody could just do a live performance, especially if they're all in different places. So like, you know, it would be interesting to see what Sarah learns, but there's very little in terms of an ensemble performance that could even really happen.
Well, was that Rolling Stones live the other night or was that recorded?
I didn't see that.
When
I
they
think
did
it was
that-
recorded.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
see it.
that in the house that Lady
Yeah.
Gaga pulled together,
Everything.
and she got the stones and
All
some
of that stuff is, all of that stuff is pre-recorded.
Yeah, it was recorded. It was
Yeah.
good, but it was
Yeah,
recorded.
no, that was professional. That was very good. I don't know that.
It better
To
be.
Charles' point, I don't know that what we would do would, be, and John, you just brought up the word cost effective, and it's just, I mean, the Zoom, I mean, this is tough enough. I don't know, trying to put it together with the concert. I'm not sure
You can't do a live concert. Like that's the thing. You just can't do it. Like
No.
you have to, it has to be done in advance because there has to be some kind of a timing on the feeds for everybody. And also Zoom doesn't let more than one person speak at once. So you can't have a harmony or like all the instruments playing at the same time. This is all stuff that has to be done in advance. So
Mhm.
if they did the concerts, it would be something that had been,
There's so much streaming out there now. I don't know that we need to spend the money and give anybody, to do that. I think that it's Nancy, you bring up a good point. I think that they'll look real hard at that, whether we
Right.
consider
and it may not be possible at all. I think what Mary was saying Sarah was doing is that she's looking into what the possibilities are in the first place. And so, like whether or not it's even feasible to like, what could anybody possibly do if they can't be in the same place to perform together?
Well, we're still working out the kinks. So there's going to be more added to this reopening plan. There's more tweaking. There'll be a more definitive safety guidelines. Mary will cover a little bit in her report what she's been doing to protect the staff and patrons. And also we'll be adding all of the different departments are now working on how they would run their departments to keep social distancing with their staff and such. So this was just a general one for phasing, and then the department people will be working on how they're going to man desks, how they were going to do programs, how they're going to schedule, so there'll be more coming. Just wanted to make sure that there's moving on this when the governor's ready.
Well, thank you for starting. You're starting to think about it. You're starting to put together some kind of a plan, and in anticipation of like you're basically just trying to guess what they would be doing. And so thank you for starting that thought process.
Well, I'm gonna ask one question to Mary. Overall, with the report, but because we're having some of the issues in terms of personnel, how are the staff's attitudes right now in terms of, it's easy to, not easy, it's very difficult actually to write this report because you don't know where the timeline's going to be. But how are the staff been? I know that initially there was a discussion, some of the staff just didn't want to come in, and that was partly when we closed even before we were determined that we had to close. But are there some that still don't want to do it, or do we know?
Well, yes, we put out last week to the managers to ask their staff if they had anybody who would voluntarily like to come in to start preparing the building for whatever opening is done. And we had, say, 4 people today. There's another 2 coming this week. Andrew, Teresa Marchetti from Outreach, Brandy's coming back, Teresa's coming back, and then there's additional shelvers. So the department managers are putting together to let me know, because I don't want too many people in the building at one time. So there's any fear of crossing over or too much. And so they have been doing it starting this week. It's been kind of fun. I saw Katie and Teresa and Brandy and Becky today and Chris Schultz. It was kind of fun. And Michelle from Adult Service. It was fun seeing faces again. So I think there's definite people who would like to share and help with the library, and they're trying to set up schedules now. I don't know everyone. I think there are some people who have compromised systems. That is a real fear. There's a lot who have child care issues, because they're doing e-learning and things, and they don't have the schools open. So percentage wise, I'd say that we should get it, probably I want to say throughout the next couple of weeks, at least 30% of the staff will be coming in at some point, even if it's only for a couple hours. But they're doing a lot of e-learning and at home as well. And as you can see by the Facebook, they're producing story times and other programs that I'll be uploading some more. Jackie, do we have a couple others coming up this week?
Yes, we have almost a story time or a crafter webinar every day for the next 2 weeks.
Okay. You know, and I think they've been appreciative. I think there was over 1,000 views on Stephanie's first baby story time, which is kind of fun. I think she had Dewey Bear with her.
Yes, she did.
Is there any other questions on the opening plan?
I don't have anything else right now.
Not for me.
Okay, Mary, maybe you could like to say some of the things that have been happening with the supplies we're buying?
Right, so today the library, we were able to purchase 12 portable sneeze guards that will be placed at the service desks on both floors. They measure about 24 inches by 36 inches high, and there's a 4-inch pass-through at the bottom so there can be staff-patron interaction. I've also been working with Mary Lynn from Joe Promotions on getting some social distancing stickers that can be put on the floor and the carpet. They're a little bit worried about it going on the rubber flooring. So they've been working with me on that. So I have to find out if the one company that we're thinking of going with, that it won't ruin the rubber flooring, especially with children around. We have to have that covered. Graphics has also, I put in a request, so we'll be creating some table tent cards, reminding patrons about the social distancing. So we'll put that on the tables all throughout the building, as well as behind the scenes for staff too. Steve has been working with 3 different companies so far to get supplies such as the face masks, the hand sanitizer, the wipe, the gloves. We have a really good supply right now, but we are going to keep ordering and ordering because we want to keep a surplus, especially when we do have staff coming in and then the patrons. So we've been working really hard on that. Other things that have been going on around the building is that Tyco needed to make a service call to the library on April 3rd because the burglar alarm keypad was giving alerts that numerous sensors were faulted. And this problem would not allow us then to set the alarm when we left at night. So they did find the problem. There was a sensor on the outdoor receiving room door that had been jarred loose, and one of the screws from that sensor became embedded into the circuit board. So they were able to fix that. There's only one sensor, and that's in room 104 that we've had to bypass because with the construction we couldn't find it, but that's we'll get to it as that construction part goes on. But the building now is able to be armed every day. Tyco did say they think that the damage was done when with all the construction equipment being brought in through the receiving room doors. So I will be talking to George about that tomorrow when we have our OAC meeting. And then we did have our tables refinished. So there were a total of 27 tables, both from the Youth Services Department and Adult Services, and Illinois Upholstery and Refinishing Company took care of it. All of the tables that we sent out, all 27 had words and images that were really deeply engraved into the wood. So we had to have them all refinished instead of just touching them up, which is what we thought we could do. So the cost for that project was just under $16,000. Today, the last of the 6 tables were brought back, and so they are going to be placed in their appropriate places. I am going to talk to the managers about stricter procedures that need to be done so that staff can see this damage before it gets to this type of level again. So a lot of it happened in study rooms, a lot of it happened in the, the Bay Area. So we'll be working on that. And then on April 8th, the chiller malfunctioned. So it's a good thing that we always come in every day because we found that problem, and Train was called to service it. There were 2 switches and 2 fuses that needed to be replaced, and it's running very well right now. The chiller flow switch is defective, and Train will replace it once the parts are received by them. B&R Irrigation came to do the spring season system startup for our sprinkler systems, and they also shut off the sprinkler valves on the north end of the grounds in preparation for when they start digging for the backyard. And then finally, we hired a maintenance assistant, Jose Mercado. He started in early March. He has been such a big help to Steve. When Joe, quit unexpectedly, Steve was really in the lurch. We had so many things happening with the renovation project. So Jose has brought his muscle to the game. He's been putting up shelving. He's been painting the hallways, changing out lights, and taking apart and rebuilding those tables for the refinishing project, because many of them had to have the legs taken off because they couldn't fit through the doors properly. So Steve is very happy with the work that this young man is doing for us, and we hope that he's with us for a while. So that is all I have for right now. Are there any questions?
Yeah, Mary, did we talk about it a little earlier? Do we know where we're at on the status of the job, and with the timeline, or is that something you could bring up and get something tomorrow at the OAC meeting?
When you talk about the renovation at the committee reports, I have a few dates for you to help.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, then Mary, you had mentioned in an earlier report that it was going to be 32 tables, and you just said 27. Were the others not as damaged as you thought?
Right, they were just something that we could handle ourselves. So yeah, it just ended up being the 27.
Okay.
So.
I just wanted to address something just before we move on to the next part of the meeting. When we were talking about the treasurer's reports and the payment of bills, Nancy, would it make more sense to address the payment of bills before we do the treasurer's report each time? Because it seems that we do the treasurer's report first, which is all of the numbers, you were mentioning today that it's like, well, we want to be able to ask questions about the expenditures and things. So would it make more sense to do to just reverse the order of how we do things in the meetings and do the payment of bills before we do the treasurer's reports?
We'll switch the agenda to do that. Sure.
Would that be helpful, Nancy?
Definitely.
Okay.
So we're not out of order, because I apologize for,
No, not at all. I mean, so
Yeah.
so we have power over how we do the agenda. So
Right.
maybe
I have no problem, switching that.
yeah. So then we can address the specific expenditures, and then when we get to the treasurer's report, we're comfortable with where all the figures are, and it makes more sense than to address
It makes sense.
and then we don't have to worry about any order of the agendas in an order that we feel comfortable discussing.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, committee reports.
Well, the renovation
I'm
is
sorry.
continuing.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Did we have any more? We don't have any more librarian reports. Okay, so
No.
committee reports
Thank
then.
The building and maintenance, this isn't just an update. I just wanted to let you know that I talked to George, and he's looking at June 19th as a finishing of phase 2.
Wow.
So that's right on schedule. He's also looking at April 27th to be the groundbreaking, or I'll call it groundbreaking, for the backyard. So a week from today, they should be working on the nature center area. Maybe Jackie, could you show the PowerPoint? We took some pictures to show you how the renovation is, the second phase is going. How's that work? Okay, this, what you're looking at is a teen area. I took 2 pictures, one as you enter, and then I went to the south end, and the second picture is the study rooms that'll be built. And in front of that is, so where the wood is I believe the mounting for the game area. So you can see they've gotten pretty far in the teen. Next. Oh, I just.
Some of the books.
Teresa and Becky sorted all of those cards. They are not checked in yet, but they're ready for any clerks that come in can just start checking them in.
Wow.
They've been
The work there.
I think we ended up having 30 carts, Mary, of books that we in.
So they were doing a lot of sorting. So next one.
That is on the left is the entrance to the Friends Recycled Reads Room, coming up from the lobby, headed towards youth services. And then that is inside the Friends room. And right now that's where George Gardner has his office, his temporary office. So behind that is they cornered, drywalled off an area where the electrical boxes are. And so the Friends will be able to, I think, to use that area to sort their books and then take it out onto the selling floor, which is what you're seeing on the right-hand side.
So they got pretty far. Next slide.
Okay, that is the new boardroom. So thought you guys would like to see that.
That was part room 102 that the White used to have offices in. Now it's just, they're ready to start putting drywall in. Now, what you'll see is, you can see from the ceiling that there was a lot of more pipes and ductwork that was not quite shown in the as-built. Do we have a picture of room 104 itself, Mary? Could you?
That's a different angle looking into the boardroom. There was one, there we go. So
Okay.
that's the
See
entrance.
all the
to the-
ductwork?
Yeah, that's
So,
no.
on Friday, George and the architects asked us, the ceiling is 10 foot. And around the entire large meeting room, there was going to be a 2-foot higher ceiling with indirect lighting. Because of the ductwork and pipes, it would cost quite a bit of money, frankly, White's money, not ours, to move the duct to allow for a 2-foot higher outside rim. So we've agreed to let them be only 1 foot higher. So the ceiling's 10 foot, but the around the room will be 11 feet with the lighting. This will help White quite a bit get the room finished. So that did come into a problem last week. Now, the contingency fund, we started out with $166,977. We currently still have $165,163. So I think we're doing very well coming in halfway in phase 2 and not having the contingency fund tapped too much.
Yeah, it's very good.
Great.
Was there another slide, Jackie? Did we take any more? Is that the?
That was the same one. That's looking into the, wait. Yeah, there's the boardroom. So looking into the boardroom.
So is the boardroom big enough for?
It will fit the table and chairs all around it. What you won't have is as much room around it. But it will fit the table.
So we will meet in there as opposed to in the large
It
meeting?
depends how you know, if we can go back to room 105.
I
You could
just-
also meet in the multi-purpose room. which
Yeah,
is
I
even
just don't know
bigger.
why we built a new boardroom if we weren't ever going to use it.
Well, we use it a lot for staff meetings.
Okay,
And
so we'll
interviews.
just call it a staff room instead of a boardroom.
No, it's for closed sessions.
Got it. Thank you.
So that's what we have on renovation.
Can I ask what constitutes the phase 3 or I thought the teen was in the phase 3, but it's in 2.
Use
Large
services.
meetings, the whole meeting room corridor, and the Friends Room is phase 2. And phase 3 is the lobby. The Nature Center is kind of on both phase 2 and phase 3 because it's outside. The preschool area and the tween center, as well as the mother's room and the room for autistic.
That's
So
all
that
phase
is
3.
phase 2.
Thank you. Can I ask in Ian's narrative, he talked about moving stuff back into putting computers back into the IT Commons and lab, and then doing something with the tech center. So isn't the tech center the lab?
No, the computer lab is still the same lab, but it's now glass, so you can see in and out. Right next to the lab was it was an area that had a copier machine and a few tables, a fax machine. That's now the tech center, and it's enclosed, but on 3 sides, but open on the front. And then next to that is the IT Commons with public use computers.
And then what's where we're giving classes?
That's a computer lab if those return upon what happens, because the distance in the computer lab between computers is only 16 inches. So we have social distancing problems for the computer lab. We're already looking at the IT Commons as one of the phases is to put people every other chair because of the closeness of the workstations for the patrons. But he's working on, I sent those measurements to him, he's working on a plan for how we can accommodate, because there's going to be patrons looking for, jobs and whatnot. We have to figure out how to accommodate the computer use, because that's going to be just as important as materials to people.
Right. Okay, thank you.
It froze again. So, all right. That's what I have for renovation. It was show and tell.
Do we have any
And
other?
you're all welcome to come in. Just let me know if you have, that you're coming in, if you'd like to see, if you're at your, if your comfort level. They're all wearing masks. They have, rules about where to come in and where they can walk and what elevator they can use. It's very more, more safety guidelines even since they first started. So we don't see them too much.
We
And
don't.
they're getting a lot of work done.
No.
Well, in the sense, in terms of the work, it's actually kind of nice that the public isn't in the library because they get the chance to really just focus on it and get a ton out of the way. So the initial concern was inconvenience to the public, but as it turns out, it's not as big of a problem as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that really helped with the demoing because that was a noise. Right now, they're the carpenters, and I don't hear any noise at all from them. Did you hear any, Mary or Ross?
There was just a little bit this afternoon. They were really going at something, but you have to always look at the positive on things, and it has worked out that we don't have patrons. So, and they are really working hard and getting a lot done. So we're happy about the progress.
That's great.
Yeah, typically the noise is not bad at all.
Oh, Ross, quick question. right in the middle of the meeting. Did Aaron have his baby yet? Did they have the baby?
Yes, they did. Him and his wife had the baby on Friday. Got a baby girl named Anna. I believe she was 19 inches tall and 7 pounds, 11 ounces.
Oh, that's good.
Wow, that's a good
Well,
Good for
size.
them.
Congratulations when you talk to him.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pass it along.
Congratulations.
Yes, please say congratulations from all of us.
Sure.
Okay, do we have any other committee reports?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Okay. All right. On to new business. Item 1 on the agenda of new business is approval of the Hub International Midwest West Commercial Insurance Proposal for May 1st, 2020 through May 1st, 2021 in the amount of $71,009. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Charles McKinney.
Second, Nancy Healy.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Well, I would just say, Joanna, you and I sat in on the discussions with
Yes.
both of Hub and also Lyra. And I think we both were surprised. I think we were going into it thinking, after we talked about Lyra last year, that they would, number one, it would be a real slam dunk in terms of cost. But we wanted to go into the details. And as we sat through both of them, certain things came out. Lyra, one of the problems with Lyra is that you have to commit to 3 years, and there's no guarantee in the second year if they come up and there's a $10,000 increase, or they have a change in coverage. We really won't have any control over that. And right now, as we look at insurance, two of the most important parts of insurance, the sexy pieces of insurance these days, are cyber, and Charles, I think you could talk about that quite a bit. But cyber and EPLI are the two most important, and I think that Hub did, it had a little better than Lyra on both of those, both in terms of the coverage. And so I think after we went through it, that's why the staff has come to the conclusion of Hub over Lyra. And that's and I would endorse that, as far as I can tell.
Right. Well, and Dan, that's right. And one of the other things about Lyra is, although it was very attractive in terms of the cost and the fact that the more entities involved in it, the more cost effective it can be for everybody. And the coverage seemed pretty generous. The fact is that it is a 3-year commitment, and we have not begun to really see the economic impact of this the last couple months. And so we would have no control then over our costs. And that's one of the reasons why Hub was so attractive, because we could commit for 1 year, we would know what our premium was, and there was some additional coverage that we thought we were going to get from Lyra that we were not going to get, that we could get through Hub. And so, maybe in a different time, Lyra would have been the choice, but because of everything that's going on right now, it seems to me that Hub was the more reliable source. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, that is it. I would ask, how long, we seem to have been with Hub for a long time. Ross, how long have we been with Hub?
I don't know. Mary probably knows better than me.
Oh, so it goes back that long.
2010.
Yeah, and so as you look at it, I think there's something to be said for long-term relationships. And as I sat in on the call with Hub, they really do seem to know what we are about. And we haven't had that many claims, but the ones we've had have been paid on a very timely basis. And they do seem to know the ins and outs of the library when you talk to them.
I do have a question on specifically the social engineering fraud part of the coverage. That's on page 9 of the packet.
Yep.
So under the limit, we see the social engineering being a $50,000 limit. But how does that play with what social engineering leads into? So typically what you see when someone gets socially engineered into something is They get tricked into sending funds where they're not supposed to, or divulge information that could damage you in some dollar amount. So how does that work when you have a $1 million limit on something like computer transfer fraud, but a $50,000 limit on social engineering fraud?
Yeah, Charles?
Yeah.
Actually, the page 9 you're looking at is particularly is our crime coverage. And that is just like an additional amount that they threw in there for social engineering fraud.
Perfect.
But look at page, it's the very last page of the packet. And there's Hub gave us 2 different proposals, one with Beasley, who we currently have, and the other one is with HDI Global Insurance. And basically that's where our primary cyber insurance would be through one of these 2 carriers.
That's what I was going to say. Does it all fall under that cyber extortion part of it?
Yeah,
And the
so I
crime
mean, our
additional?
first coverage would be under this, in this case, we recommended to go with HDI because HDI offered $2 million worth of social engineering coverage versus where Beasley currently would only offer us $250,000.
Yeah, I just had just seen some, like, not conflicting numbers, but they were different numbers for the same thing. So I just wanted to get clarification on exactly.
Yeah, and the HDI, I think to go to that 2 million, was it, what did you say, Ross, an extra $1,300? And I think that's money, that'll be money very well spent.
It's 100% worth it.
And as it turns out, we did get, Lyra did go and was able to kind of last minute get the pricing on the additional excess liability insurance coverage that we wanted to make sure we were matching up with Hub. And when they did, there was only a $1,300 difference between Lyra. Lyra was $1,300 cheaper than Hub, but they only had Lyra only had $1 million under coverage under cyber liability policy, whereas this was 2 million. So we figured that with the 2 million, they're probably almost neck and neck.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of ways that it really makes sense this year to stick with Hub. Even though at first we were thinking maybe Lyra would be a really good option.
Yeah, you're right, Ross. I thought it would be. And then the deeper we got into it, I think Hub definitely was, I won't say head and shoulders above it, but I think it became a fairly easy decision.
Okay, so are we finished with our discussion? Okay, roll call.
Vice President Barcelona,
Aye.
Trustee Healy,
Aye.
Trustee Kleiss,
Aye.
President Leafblad,
Aye.
Trustee Lindblom,
Aye.
Treasurer McMillan,
Aye.
Secretary McShane. Aye.
Okay, item 2 on the agenda of new business is to accept the 2019 Orland Park Public Library audit by McClure and Sarah and Company. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Dave McMillan. Yeah.
Chuck.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Me, Charles McShane.
Okay,
Charles.
Yeah, Dan moved and Charles second.
great, thank you.
Okay, is there any discussion? I think he explained it pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call.
Vice President Barcelona,
Aye.
Trustee Healy,
Aye.
Trustee Kleiss,
Aye.
President Leafblad,
Aye.
Trustee Lindblom,
Aye.
Treasurer McMillan,
Aye.
Secretary McShane. Aye.
Okay, item 3 on the agenda of new business is approval of resolution number 2020-01, approving and adopting an updated Illinois Wage Payment and Collection Act expense reimbursement policy to conform to the Illinois Act 100-1094. Is there a motion?
So moved, Charles McShane.
Second, Elon.
Okay, any
Okay.
discussion?
It was passed in January of 2019 with the minimum wage. There was this law that you would have to reimburse expenses to your staff if you made it mandatory for them to work off-site. And we have not had that. It is a law, so I asked Kleinthorpe to do a resolution, which was necessary, the telecommuting policy is not covered under this. Just to let you know that we have a couple of staff who telecommute prior to this pandemic, and that is their choice. It was not mandatory by us. So this resolution is for reimbursing expenses such as internet use and phone use for staff who have to work off-site. It has to be done by the staff member. They have to apply for it using the form that's attached with copies of the necessary bills of their for internet or phone, with the telling us that what percentage they felt was used by them on behalf of the library. Just to let you know, there's been a lot of talk about this reimbursement resolution through the listserv this last couple of weeks. One of the directors that is in one of the Southside libraries contacted the Will County and Cook County Department of Labor, and they have mentioned that this law should be, or reimbursement law should be looked at through a common sense lens. That even state governments, because of the pandemic, which is a special situation, is not looking about reimbursing staff for internet phone per se, but only for any purchases they've had to make for equipment that is required to do their job, like if they were having to buy a computer or something. I'm not sure where everyone stands. If we pass this resolution, it is of course available to our staff, and I'm not quite sure how the expense will work, but it's by law we have to do this.
So my only concern with this is how do you tally up like your phone bill? Or internet's a little easier to do, like, are we going to be reimbursing people for 8 hours a day of their phone bill kind of laid out over a month? How does this work?
Well, that and also, how do you, to Chuck's question, I want to add, how do we, we can't just pay their whole cable bill because or their whole internet bill because other people may be using the internet during the day. So how do we address all that?
Well, and not only that, but if their internet bill contains a phone and television,
right,
they can't submit a section. They'd have to figure out the section of their bill pertaining to internet and then whatever is applicable to the library.
Right, they'd have to provide, and then how do we divide that up? Because, if their kids are doing e-learning, then how do we know, how do you determine how much of each is used?
Well, this has stymied many a director on these listservs. Some libraries are looking at a flat fee, $10 as such, to be determined. I was looking at it more of based on the grade levels, who uses the internet and phone more to do work. The managers, of course, like for instance, are heavily using those resources to get their work done. I'm not quite sure. I've asked Ken Fricker to look into how others have done it. How do you give us a percentage of the bill? And no one's come up with a good answer, and no one on directors either.
So
I just wanted to let you know that
we don't have a
this law
choice.
was written with very little guidance by the state of Illinois.
We don't have a choice as to whether or not we can pass this, though, right? We just kind of have to accept it.
Well, you could table this, but it's still a law on Illinois' books.
Well,
that this reimbursement.
We can pass it, and then in terms of the detail, we can come up with the details later. We can pass this now. Like if we approve this today, it's a general law, so it doesn't commit us one way or another to how we do it. Will we have the opportunity then to sort of hash out a plan on how we want to do it.
I'm working on it.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
these expenses have to be authorized before we pay them. So it's not as if somebody can come in and give you a bill and say, I incurred $100 cell bill, you have to pay it. So.
Right.
Well, what I'm worried about, Dan, is more what starts meaning authorized. So if Mary asks someone to check an email because something came through and she needs to find out, well, now are we on the hook for them hopping on their computer and using the internet? And then how much are we on the hook for?
Well,
You know,
technically, they're supposed to be pre-authorized.
Pre-authorized. The
Oh, okay.
cost itself has to be pre-authorized.
Okay.
Right.
And Mary, I see your frustration. Now that we've got your picture back, I see your frustration. I think we do have to come up with some kind of process, rational, logical, and that you could use. But it's difficult. Chuck, you started the conversation is what is, what will, I don't know who said something about the common sense. We have to use some common sense. That doesn't always work. So common sense to one person is not common sense to another, but
Well, since it has to
try to be definitive.
Since it has to be pre-authorized, would it be reasonable to, just like we had people, just like you had the packet of all of the directors providing what they did during that week, or each day, would it be reasonable to have them provide some kind of documentation of how much time they spend on the internet per day, so that then we can determine, is it more reasonable to give them to come up with a number that's an hourly credit to them, or is it better to just pay, whatever, like if their bill is whatever it is, then we pay a percentage of it.
Yeah, I just don't want to spend a lot of money with KTJ when we can make our own common sense.
Yeah, no, I think we need to have that discussion. I think is it a committee?
I'd like to see the directors coming up with some other scenarios that I can give to you. So, whether it's going to be by grade level, percentage of the bill, flat fee, I can give you a couple scenarios. I was just kind of hoping that they but nobody was on the same page on this at all. In fact, there were quite a few who have no intention. Well, I don't want to say no intention, that's pretty harsh. They just felt that the common sense is that paying to reimburse staff for this during this pandemic for internet and phone was a little excessive. They definitely felt that if they bought something that needed to be used, like a computer, wires, they would pay, but they did feel that with this pandemic, that this it wasn't like normally, and this law was written, so if I decided to say, okay, you go for a week in Ohio and I will pay for that, it's a limited time. This is a whole special circumstance. It was forced upon us. It was certainly not mandated by the library. It was mandated by the governor.
So we can actually do something. It's reasonable for us to say, you have your internet and would be paying that bill anyway, whether you had to do the work for the library or not. So we'll cover any out-of-pocket costs that you had to incur specifically to be able to do your work from home, but your cable bill would have been there, or your internet bill would have been there regardless. And so whatever pre-existed and would have been there regardless of any kind of modifications for the pandemic, we're not going to cover. But if there's anything that you had to incur in particular to make your job happen from home, that we will cover.
No, that's the common sense, the out of pocket. Now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but like Jackie, you're working at home right now, and you're with the internet. Is your internet costing more because of have you had to make a different provision to be able to work with your staff, work with Mary and Mary over the internet and on the phone?
I am not a good model or sample of my My husband's work pays for our internet.
Oh, okay, well, then you won't be submitting, so it's, but yeah, I didn't know of anybody that have they talked about it? That they're incurring additional costs in those fields for phone or for
I
internet?
don't know, are they working full-time? You
I think
know,
one example, I think, is Mary was Sarah. Sarah out and include or start up or have an add-on internet service.
Yeah, she's been basically, I think, using more of her data plan on her phone, which was not strong enough for some of these Zoom meetings as well as the Outlook team meetings. So,
Okay, so she's incurring,
Yeah, so those are out-of-pocket costs.
right, she's incurring an additional expense to be able to do her job, and it's documentable.
Yeah. I think that you bring up a good word, documentable. If they can be shown that the additional costs are incurred because of work, then that's, then you fill out the sheet to get approved, and then we still have, and then Mary or whoever is making the decision still has that right to approve or disapprove.
Right, and if we have a question, I mean, if it really were, if we were ever in a position where we really thought, I doubt anybody's going to do it, but if we were in a position where we really thought somebody was trying to get the whole bill paid by the library, we could even just ask them for a previous bill to compare.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Right.
There's common sense, and that's, I think, that what should pervade it. But yeah, we can, I think if we pass this now and then we have some type, Mary's going to work on putting together some type of process, and then we can talk about it at committee level or at the next meeting.
okay.
So if we are finished with our discussion, then we need roll call.
Vice President Barcelona,
Aye.
Trustee Healy,
aye.
Trustee Kleiss,
Aye.
President Leafblad,
Aye.
Trustee Lindblom,
Aye.
Treasurer McMillan,
Aye.
Secretary McShane. Aye.
Okay, item 4 on the agenda of new business is approval of the media release form for White and Company related to the renovation project. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Christian,
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
This was George Garner and White. They're going to take pictures of the renovation as it was moving along and videos, and he asked that this media release be signed. I did not want any staff in it or any audio. So we rewrote it to reflect a more fair release of the pictures for their marketing.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Vice President Barcelona,
Aye.
Trustee Healy,
Aye.
Trustee Kleiss,
Aye.
President Leafblad,
Aye.
Trustee Lindblom,
Aye.
Treasurer McMillan,
Aye.
Secretary McShane. Aye.
Okay, item 5 on the agenda of new business is approval of the opening of an ACH account with Marquette Bank for the operational fund and approve the ACH services agreement. Is there a motion?
So moved. Charles McShane.
Second, Elon.
Thank you.
Ross, this is more your discussion, I think.
Yes. Basically, we have a number of employees that are now retiring. And with that retirement, they are planning to most likely stay on our insurance. And we'll have to then obviously make payments to us to reimburse us at 100% of the cost. To help expedite or make it a little bit smoother than having to worry about calling on the phone or chasing after employees, we wanted to put in place where we could set up on a kind of automatic basis monthly to collect the money from these employees and make that process go a little bit smoother. So we talked with Marquette Bank, and Marquette Bank suggested that we could add on ACH services onto our operating account, and and kind of move forward that way. In addition, we do have about 3 retirees that are utilizing our dental or vision coverage. And so when it comes to next year, when we go through open enrollment, we can also include those retirees on as far as maybe collecting their payments via ACH.
Okay.
So this is an agreement that we need to have approved by the board. And then we also need to have 2 authorized signers sign on page 7 in order to execute the agreement. And in addition to that, Mary, most likely be Mary W. and myself, and probably Mary Adamowski too, will be added on. So only the 3 of us would be allowed to really execute any type of ACH transactions.
Okay.
So
Is
we're,
there-
good controls so that we're not everybody's involved with this.
Okay, is there any other discussion, any other questions? Okay, roll call.
Vice President Barcelona,
Aye.
Trustee Healy,
Aye.
Trustee Kleiss,
Aye.
President Leafblad,
Aye.
Trustee Lindblom,
Aye.
Treasurer McMillan,
Aye.
Secretary McShane, aye.
Okay, a few quick announcements. Thank you to Diane Cerebro for 26 years of service in April. Newman, 14 years, and Nicole Sum, 1 year. I know they're not here, but thank you anyway, still counts.
We'll
Are
let
there-
them know.
Yeah, are there any other announcements? We have Ian's baby, right?
I just wanted to say thank you to the staff for all of, I know how hard it is to work from home. I think that a lot of you guys all found that out, that it sounded like a great gig until you try to work from home. And they've been awesome about getting things done. I mean, the packaging, the orders, and I just want to thank them publicly for doing all this work in the last month. And I thank the patrons for being so understanding of waiting for us to open again.
Well, and thank you, our administrators, for doing such an amazing job of organizing everything, putting everything together, and just keeping everything afloat.
Yeah, well, there is no textbook for what we're doing. It's unprecedented. So,
Right.
no, it's a very good job. I would ask, are we, I registered for it. I didn't know if we're all doing the library trustee forum on April 30th. So I got an email on that because it's free, because for some reason it was free this year.
Well, I might do it. I don't know. I have to look at that.
I don't think I noticed it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look myself. Okay, any other announcements? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Charles.
Second, McMillan.
Any
Thank you.
discussion? No? Okay, roll call.
Vice President Barcelona,
Aye.
Trustee Healy,
Aye.
Trustee Kleiss,
Aye.
President Leafblad,
Aye.
Trustee Lindblom,
Aye.
Treasurer McMillan,
Aye.
Secretary McShane, aye.
Okay, so the meeting is adjourned at 8:56 p.m.